first sprint race of the 2023 Formula One season was held last Saturday, 29th of April, at the Baku City Circuit in Azerbaijan. Formula One introduced a new format this year where there was 1 hour-long practice on Friday and qualifying for Sunday's race afterwards. Then on Saturday, there was a sprint qualifying shootout which was shorter and mandated the type of tire each driver had to use, followed by the sprint race. Lastly, the race would be on Sunday as normal. Most drivers welcomed this new format and were keen to try it out before judging whether it was any good or not. They highlighted that it would be new to go straight into qualifying on Saturday and that each session would matter more.
It's going to be an interesting weekend. I think the new format's definitely better than the old sprint format, in my opinion. And from a personal point of view, to have 2 opportunities to have qualifying in 2 races is huge for me to keep learning and sort of building upon that foundation.
It's exciting. It's cool to have more racing, more exciting weekend, but maybe not every weekend. That would be something to look out for. On the other hand, I think as a driver, it's great that you go straight into that qualifying sprint shootout qualifying without practice before, because that could bring some uncertainty. Some drivers that are not going to be awake are going to make mistakes, and it's not going to be the same. So we'll see. That brings opportunities and brings skills to the driver, more importantly. So I look forward to that.
However, some drivers were not a fan of sprint races and this new format. They argued that they wouldn't provide any action and that a crash in qualifying could mean the driver couldn't race in the sprint, which was the case for Logan Sargent.
Yeah, just scrap the whole thing. I think it's just important to go back to what we have and make sure that every team can fight for a win. That's what we have to try and aim for, and try to implement all these kind of artificial excitement. I would say I got bored through today's qualifying, to be honest. I like to have one particular qualifying where you just put everything in it. And that was yesterday, which I, of course, enjoy. And then they have to do it again today. I'm like, my God, another qualifying? I just don't really enjoy that.
I decided to ask some fans their thoughts on sprint races. Here's what they said. How successful do you think this new sprint format was?
It doesn't do anything for me, the new sprint. It ruins a Grand Prix weekend, actually.
I like the format, actually. I think it's a good, shorter race. It sort of encapsulates sort of that beginning of that madness and sort of the race to the end, kind of a little bit of the race. So I think it's good that you cut out some of the tedium in the middle.
Are sprint races any good? Why or why not?
I don't think so. Maybe at certain tracks they might be interesting, but there's too much of an opportunity to damage the cars. So actually, not a big fan.
Yeah, I think sprint races, they just have a lot of potential to them. There's a lot of action that can take place within a short amount of time. So I do think it has potential. At the current moment, it's not the best thing in the world, but I think teams will get used to it in time.
Formula One seems keen to add more sprint races as they doubled the amount from 3 last year to 6 this year. Despite this sprint race not having too much action besides Yuki Tsunoda's tire rolling off and the collision between George Russell and Max Verstappen, fans will have to wait and watch the remaining 5 sprint races to form an opinion.